and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Ormark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we are going to work on a really fun background. You can do this for all sorts of things, but we're actually going to make it really fun. So, first of all, you need to have a reasonable sized block. Now, this is the... I always have to check to see the E block. So it's a good sized block, and that's what you need. And then you are going to take, we're using 3 inks. We're using Saffron, we're using Gorgeous Grape, and we're using Pacific Point. So we're going to start with the Saffron, and you are literally going to cover the whole of the ink pad in the Saffron. So literally just dab your ink pad over the top in the Saffron. Okay, and it doesn't matter if it's precise or there's little bits missing or whatever. It really doesn't matter. So Saffron as a base, or something that's fairly pale. Then we're going to use the Gorgeous Grape. So let's open that one up. You then need some fairly strong colours. So I'm using some sponges, and I am going to ink this up really well. So you can have it quite juicy, and you are literally just going to tap it on to the block over the top. And again, quite randomly, you're just giving a nice sort of background toned pattern. Okay, then we're going to take the Pacific Point, again a nice bright colour, and we can take a another sponge, and again just make sure it's fairly well inked up, and you are then going to just put some colours in on there. And again, just completely random, a few blobs. So you then have a sort of a speckledy pattern going on in the background like that. So you can probably see it through. There's all sorts of colours. Then you need our spritz. A little bit of water in there, and you are going to take it from quite a height. I would say I'm 7-8 inches above it, and you only need to... This is me getting cramp in my hands. You only need to give it just a couple of sprays. You don't want it oversaturated. You just want a couple of sprays, and then you just leave it for a few seconds, and you can see that it's starting to just get little droplets on. Not enough that it's going to pour everywhere. You then need to take a piece of Whisper White cardstock, as long as it is the same size as your block, or a little bit bigger, it really doesn't matter from there. So we are then going to take this on straight over the top. I'm doing it slightly on a side because I'm on the camera, and we are just going to rest it on the top like this, and you can see it'll start to smoosh in, and then we are going to just literally drag. So we're going to drag the whole of... You can hold on to your piece as you drag, but you are just literally going to drag and slide as you go, right the way down, and you will see that you will almost clear your block, and it's come completely clean because you've got all the colour on the back there. Okay, so it looks a little bit random, but trust me, it will actually work really, really well. So we're now going to take Humming Along, and we want the leaf from this, and we are then going to create the background that we want. Now you'll see that some of it's a little bit where more water was on there, it's more blended. Some of it's a little bit looser. Really doesn't matter. It's the sort of thing that every time you do it, it will be a little bit different. So we're just going to put our leaf on here, and then we are going to take a good black ink, and we're just going to ink that up, and then we are going to randomly stamp this across the background. So turning it round as you go, taking it at all sorts of different angles and trying to get it sort of fairly close to each other. And again, just sort of put it round. Let's see if we can get one in that way. Will work. And some down at the bottom. And again, it's very random. You don't want to do it overly precisely. All you are doing is just taking the colours through, and you will see how it works out when we've got it. So I'm just doing it right the way sort of up to the end here and off into little sort of spaces, maybe a couple down here, because I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to be using. So just fill in the spaces in there. So you've got just sort of a random pattern on there. I'm just going to fill in that little space up there, I think, just in case that's going to come onto the paper. And then we'll maybe get another little one just in on there. I think that that'll work. Okay, so let me just clean that. No, I'll put that there. I will clean that block off afterwards. Okay, so now you've got a random coloured pattern on it. Now what we are going to do is we are going to get the stitched shaped framelets. And what we're going to do is we're going to work on every other one. So I have put this in here, and we are taking out, because I've already taken the ones out that we need. So we are going to take the, whoops, we need 3 of them. So we're taking the 3rd, 5th, and 7th. So alternating ones. And we are then going to cut a frame out. So I am going to do this very quickly. So what I need to do is we're just going to put this across on here. So again, line it up where you think you want it to go. Whether you want it more on that side, whether you want it more, I think I want it more with sort of that blue. I quite like that in on there. So we'll have one there. You then put the other one in on top like that, and you put the next one in on top like that. Okay, so you can mask it, or you can use, I got the our magnetic platform, so I'm just going to do that on there. Now I'm going to do this off camera because to get my big shot all the way in is a little bit of a palaver. So I'm just going to put this down and then line it up again so I've got the distance. Now you can put masking tape down if you want. It's entirely up to you, but as I say, I've got the magnetic platform, so I'm just going to run it through and back again. There we go. Okay, so I've just run it through the big shot, and then what we have is, let's take these off. So we can get rid of that piece because we don't want it, but we then have our 3. So we've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 frames like this. So we can then put these ones back in here. And then what you would do is you would take the alternate ones. So if we put this one down on here, the one up from it, you put this one down. So as long as you're doing alternating ones, you're all right. Okay, so if I put them in, we are going to cut out 3 in white. So heavy whisper white, normal whisper white, entirely up to you. So this one is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th one. So it will be the 6th one and then the alternating one, so 1 up and then the 1 up again, because then that gives you that variegated look that we're wanting to achieve. So let's put those away so they're nice and safe. And so what we are going to do now is we are going to adhere each one of these. We need to make sure that we've got it, now that I've wiggled it about everywhere, that we've got each piece lining up as it was. So before we start doing any gluing, we need to make sure that it is lined up like that. Okay, so we can take the little one and we are going to just put that in on top of there. So let's get some Tombow. Put that in like this. Now you can obviously do this with any colours you want. Just make sure that they're colours that don't make it muddy. You know, if you put colours together, you can make them quite muddy. So I always do. I quite like using the Saffron first because it does give quite a nice sort of background look to that. So, and I always put the backs as solid ones because that gives you just that little bit of extra dimension. Okay, so we want this one is going to be then adhered to this one. So this has got to go on to here. And this one has got to go on to there. So we can do each one of these first. So just take this out and again just run some wet glue. You can use tear and tape if you want. Snail, yeah, possibly. Snail is great for sort of one layer. I'm not sure how it would work on all of these layers, but we can see. Okay, so we just want to line this up as best as we can over the top. As I say, on camera with my lights, I'm always a little bit, but with the Tombow, you do have that little bit of wiggle room on there. So we've got this one on there, and then we'll do the last one on here. And again, how you put them together is entirely up to you. I've worked out that this, for me, just works out better. So if we put this one then in on here, and again just try and get it even like that, and then we're going to put this one in on top like that. Now you can put it in with a dimension if you want to, or a dimensional. I think there's probably enough layers on this. I always say dimensions and layers, it's really down to your own areas and where you're posting it to or where you're sending it. Postal charges can be quite expensive, so bear that in mind. And as I say, if you wanted to put it up with dimensionals, you could do, and you would get a really nice layer on that. So that's the last one. Let's put this on here like that. And then I would just, on this one, and I'll show you one that I've finished. I would take there we go. I think that's absolutely lovely. I would then take the, where are they? Well Written. I love the dies on Well Written. They're all like handwritten fonts, and you have got birthday, happy, thanks, hooray, wishes, welcome, friend, love you. You've got, there's two of these. You've got sympathy, you've got baby, you've got miss you, you've got bride and groom. So you can choose whatever you want, but I love the actual style of these. These are really, really fresh, really modern. So what I would do is, let's take one that I've already finished, is I would put one of the sentiments in white across the front, and then just adhere it to the card. So you can see very similar, but slightly different. Each time you do it, it will be slightly different. But those three colours, I love the way that the blue and the yellow gives that sort of green. and the purple tone almost gives like a brown sort of rusticy type look to it. So I really like that. So again, the colours we use, So Saffron, Gorgeous Grape and Pacific Point. And the stamp set we used was the leaves from Humming Along, because again, it's something that you want to just give that little background piece. So again, I hope you will give it a go and look forward to seeing you again. Thank you. Bye-bye.